We're in the old market, Beijing, China, where we left off the previous video. This is a continuation of my multiple trips to mainland China. And this is where I visit Beijing, the downtown old market, Tiananmen Square, Forbidden City, the Summer Palace, and all the places around Beijing. My initial visit was to Guilin, China, where is my wife's hometown. So that was Tiananmen Square main entrance with the guard that was out there. This is a wall that goes around. It's like 3 or 4 blocks wide. So it's a pretty large square in there from what I can understand. I didn't get a chance to go inside because it was closed. But that's the gist of it. It was a comfortable night, probably low 70s, mid 70s. That's the main road outside, and across the street from Tiananmen Square is the Politburo main office where they meet, I suppose. Right there is what I'm talking about. And that street out there is like, I don't know, 6 lanes, 3 lanes wide each direction, 4 lane wide each direction. It was a pretty busy road, as you can see. And this is at night. And there's the Tiananmen Square. It's all lit up. And this is the area outside of the hotel, the main road, where a tour bus backs up and they load and unload. I think there was multiple hotels in the area. There's the main street. And these tour buses were unloading there. And then from there, that's the entranceway to a hotel we stayed in, or that's the hotel we stayed in. Then we had to walk down the side a little ways to the main entrance. The second floor was the restaurant, and that's the main entrance into the hotel. We're on our way to the Ming Dynasty tombs. This was the entrance to Beijing. Back in the day, there was a 10-meter moat with a wall around the whole city, and that was one of the entrances where the troops would come in and out. If they'd go out for a whatever reason, and when they come back, that was the main entrance that the troops came through. And this is the 3rd emperor of the Ming Dynasty's tomb. That's been restored. Not all of them restored, but the whole area, like 13 different tombs in the area. Only a couple of them been restored. That is the emperor right there. And here's an overview of the area where all the tombs were located for all the different Ming Dynasty's emperors. It lasted 300 years, so they had quite a few emperors. And there's an example of one of their ships that they used when they traveled around. That was the emperor's fleet. That's the main entrance to the tomb. I don't remember going into the tomb, but I remember walking down this entranceway. But I don't know if at one end and there was a museum type place, or if it was closed, or if we wasn't allowed in. I have no idea. I can't remember. And we're out in front of the restaurants where we had Peking duck there. It's still in Beijing. This is the Forbidden City. And that's where the tour guide was telling us about that pathway where only the emperor and the princes allowed to walk. Nobody else was allowed to walk on that particular path. Like it's in thirds, and that first big building you come to is where the emperor conducted his business. And then the second building, and the next third in the second building was his bed. This is his bedroom. In the previous clip, we showed the throne, and that was his bedroom. Not much in there, to tell you the truth, just a bed. And this is the back part, third of the Forbidden City, where all his wives, or concubines, as they called them, would stay. And that's a close-up of the dragons. This is the Great Wall. That's the wife. We're riding up in the gondola. This was after we got back down. We made it up to that first landing up there. My goal was to make it to the guardhouse, but I didn't come close. It's really steep steps, and a lot of them. This gives you an idea how steep it is. And how busy it was. That's about the highest we made it right there. And you can see the wall goes all around the top of the mountains. This is looking back down. We're in the bus going from wherever we were, probably the Great Wall, heading back into Beijing, and we stopped at a silk factory. Every time you go on a trip, you stop somewhere on the way back. This was a silk factory. We stopped at a jade factory, and we stopped at a pearl place. And the 3 different days were there, and the 3 different trips we took. We did the Great Wall. We did the Forbidden City. We actually walked to the Forbidden City from the hotel, but we had a bus ride to the Great Wall. We had a bus ride to the Summer Palace. We had a bus ride through the temple where they would worship in the spring. Not sure what that was called, but whatever. This is the entrance to the silk factory where we stayed. I didn't get any inside. It was just basically a museum and how they make silk, the silkworms and all that kind of stuff. Of course, then they try to sell you stuff. This is streets of Beijing. As you will notice later on, all the streets in China look about the same. They all got sidewalks with trees. This was a side street where the buses would park for that factory. But they all had a separate area for bicycles and scooters, and the cars were in the center. This is the Summer Palace. That's the tour boat that you had to take across the lake to get to the palace, which is right there. Again, I have more of these clips in my first video, but this is just an overview. Different clips of different things. This is us on the tour boat on our way to there, and this is on top of the Forbidden, or the Summer Palace, the very top you could go, and was looking towards Beijing across the lake there. This is the plane we took to Beijing, and we had, this was a later trip when I took a train trip. But the Beijing airport's so big and so busy, the plane parked out on the tarmac, and they brought buses out, but we got on buses and took us to the terminal. We're back in Guilin now. This is typical Chinese street. Cars in the middle. Looks like scooters there. It doesn't. This is a side street, so it doesn't have a lane for scooters. And that's another street going down where they had a market going on. Go down there and you do your shopping. Live chickens right there. And then all the different vendors. We're in a convenience store. This is the alcohol aisle. They had Budweiser. You notice that the cans of beer are in there by themselves, 1 can at a time. They didn't have 12 packs or 6 packs, at least the first couple times I went. This is one of the main, okay, there's the scooter lane, and then they have the car lane. This is an intersection. This is kind of in the downtown area of Grayling, small town of 4.8 million people. It's only a small town because they don't have a subway. That's the only thing I could figure out why they call it a small town. Lots of scooters everywhere. This is wife's friend saw her, and they stopped right on the corner of the road at night, got out, and they started talking. And they just left the car parked on the corner in the intersection, halfway in the intersection. They park wherever they feel like it. This is the park outside her apartment or condo. That's a tree, and right to our left was the old wall with the guardhouse on top. We saw in the video, earlier video, there's a lake out there, and that's looking down the park. This is the alleyway going up to her condo, where they park cars on both sides, kind of tight. And eventually here we'll get to the door, and we're home.